Good morning. I am Dr.K.G.SELVI, Assistant Professor of Zoology, A.D.M. College for Women, Autonomous Nagapattinam. Today I am going to discuss about this cell. Before to go to detail, now we will see what is a cell. Cells are the basic building block of all living things. The human body is composed of trillions of cells. The cells are, we are calling as a building block because of any trillions of cells combined together, it was formed the cells. So they provide structures for the body, taken in nutrient from the food, which converted those nutrients into the energy for the cells. So which carry out by the to do the specialized functions. Because of that only we are calling the building block of the cells. Now why we are calling as a building block? Otherwise we can make a questions why cell is known as a building block. Cell is it's a smallest basic unit of life that is responsible for all forms of life processes. Cells are the structural, functional and biological units of all living beings. A cell can replicate itself independently, hence they are known as the building block of the cells. So if the cells has to form a human body, entire body to give the structures and to do the functions, means it should be in a many number of cells together only it can be able to form that cells. So the single cells you can see in that diagram, it's given in this picture itself. So what are the cells in the biology? As a biologist, there is some definition is there, some specific we have to say what is the cell. A cell is a mass of cytoplasm that is bound externally by a cell membrane. Usually it's microscopic in size. Cells are the smallest structural unit of living matter and composed of all living things. Most cells have one or more nuclei and others organelles that carry out a varieties of tasks. So depending on the cells, the number of cells and structures it will get vary. Next slide. Now we will see why it is called as a cell. So the name given by the Robert Hooke, who suggested the name cell in 1665. In Latin it's called as a cella, that meaning is storeroom or chamber. After using a very early microscopy to look at a piece of a cork, so initially that Robert Hooke observed that cells from the cork only. It is also said that he thought that the rectangular chambers looked like the cells in some monasteries. How a cells work? So within the cells, nutrients and organelles moves around to carry out various cellular functions. This kind of internal movement is called cyclosis or cytoplasmic streaming. The internal structure of cells, which is called the cytoplasm, creates a directional flow that pushes the content of the cells around. So the cell which is encircled by the plasma membrane, within the plasma membrane all the content it was encircled and streaming occurring within the cytoplasm itself. What is cell is made of? Cells are composed of water, inorganic ions and carbon containing organic molecules. Water is the most abundant molecules in cells, accounting for 70% or more of the total cell mass. Consequently, the interactions between water and the other constitutions of the cells are of central importance in biological chemistry. This is the composed of the cells you can call. Next slide. Then cells, we are always telling cell only. Only single cells only we are discussing. Now we will see what is the tissues. Tissues is a group of cells that have similar structure and that functions together as a unit. A non-living material is called the intracellular matrix, fill the space between the cells. This may be abundant in some tissues and minimal in others. So the cells which are many number of, already I told, trillions of cells composed together only it has formed the human body. So the tissues also, it has entangled in a non-living materials in the intercellular matrix. It is embedded in that. So the together combination only it is called as a tissues. What is an example of the cells? Cells may be classified into two major types. Prokaryotic cells, example bacterial cells, and eukaryotic cells, example plants and animal cells. The main difference between the two, that is prokaryotic cells and eukaryotic cell, is well defined nucleus which is surrounded by a cell membranous and the nuclear envelope. It's present only in eukaryotic cells. So the nuclear membrane only differentiating the prokaryotic cells from the eukaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells example is bacteria. For eukaryotic cells, as a zoologist, we can take it as an animal cells, which is the smallest cell. Mycoplasma gallisepticum is the smallest cell. So this mycoplasma, the size varies from 0.2 to 0.3 micrometer. Mycoplasma are the smallest living organisms on the earth. So who named the cells? Robert Hooke, the person who first time the word cell was used to refer this tiny unit of life was in 1665 by the British scientist named Robert Hooke. The Hooke was one of the earliest scientists to study living things under the microscope. Who discovered the cells? Initially, so the discovered by the Robert Hooke itself, 1665. The cell has a rich and interesting historic that has ultimately given way to many of today's scientific advancement. So, what is that body cells? Cells are the basic building block of the body. All tissues and organs. The cells in a tissues are not identical, but they work together to accomplish special functions. For example, muscle cells has muscles. Tissues together it has forms a differentiated cells. How the differentiated cells form? During the early embryonic developmental stages, the cells divides and it goes another stages of the blastulation, gastrulation, and the cells before that organogenesis and embryogenesis, the cells it will get in a differentiated. If the cells differentiated only, it can be able to do the specific functions, the cells becoming a specialized cells in the body. So because of that only, our body, different types of tissues, it's doing some specialized functions. How are cells made? Mitosis is a fundamental process for life. During mitosis, a cell duplicates all of its content, including its chromosomes, and splits to form two daughter cells. The daughter cells are identical in nature. Because of this process, it is so critical this process, the steps of mitosis are carefully controlled by the certain genes, which is also present inside the chromosomes. That's a specialized functions it can be able to do. What is inside the cells? A cell consists of a nucleus and cytoplasm and is contained within the cell membrane, which regulates what passes in and out of the cells only it's regulating. The nucleus contains chromosomes, which are the cell's genetic materials, and a nucleolus which produce the ribosomes for the protein synthesis. Only these are the materials present inside the cells. How a cells get energy to do that functions? Cells requires a constant supply of energy to generate and maintain the biological orders that keeps them alive. So this energy is derived from the chemical bond energy in food molecules which is available to the cells, which thereby serves as a fuel for the cells to do its functions. Next, now as a zoologist, I am going to explain the animal cells. Is there any definitions for the animal cells? Yes, the definition is an animal cell is a typical of the eukaryotic cell that lacks a cell walls and has a to nuclear bound nucleus along with other cellular organelles. Now I explain about the cell, animal cells. Animal cells ranges in size from a few microscopic microns to a few millimeters. So this animal cells diagram, it's given in these pictures, you can see. So the largest known animal cell is the ostrich egg, which can stretch over 5.1 inches across and weighing about the 1.4 kilograms. This is in stark contrast to the neurons in the human body, which is just 100 micron the diameter of the across. So the shape of the animal cells alone, it gets varies, with some being flat, other cells are oval or rod shapes. There are also more intrinsic shapes such as curved shape, spherical shape, concave shapes and rectangular shapes. Most of the cells are microscopic in size and can only be seen under the microscopes. As stated earlier before, animal cells are eukaryotic cells with a membrane-bound nucleus. Furthermore, these cells exhibit the presence of DNA inside the nucleus. They also comprises other membrane-bound organelles and cellular structures which carry out specific functions necessary for a cell to do functions properly. So, this image is the animal cells. Next. So, from these cells, this is the cross sections of the animal cells. So, the parts I am reading out, you can see the central round shapes, it's given the nucleus and the endoplasmic reticulum, cytoplasm, it is present inside in these cells. Then Golgi complex, this is a cell organelle, mitochondria is a cell organelle, ribosome cell organelles, lysosome is the another cell organelles. So, the DNA is present inside the nucleus. Inside the nucleus, you can see the nucleoli, it's a gel nature, it's present. So, the nucleus, it's around the cell, nucleus is surrounded by the cell and the cell is surrounded by the cell membrane, or otherwise it is called plasma membrane. The plasma membrane is bilipid layer. The structure is a fluid mosaic model, the plasma membrane. Next slide. So, a typical animal cell comprise cell organelles. What are the organelles means? Cell membrane, nucleus, nuclear membrane, centrosomes, lysosomes. Now, we will see what is a cell membrane. It is a thin semi-permeable membrane layer of lipids and proteins. It is surrounding the cells. It is primary role to protect the animals from its surrounding. Also, it controls the entry and exit of nutrients and other microscopic entities into the cells. For this reason only, the cell membranes are known as semi-permeable or selectively permeable membrane. So, what is the nucleus? It is an organelle that contains several other sub-organelles that are nucleolus, nucleosomes and chromatins. It also contains DNA and other genetic materials. What is nuclear membrane? It is a double membrane structure that surrounds the nucleus. It is also referred to as the nuclear envelope. What is centrosomes? It is also a small organelle found near the nucleus which has a thick center with radiating tubules. The centrosomes are where microtubules are produced. Next organelle is lysosome. They are round organelles surrounded by membrane and comprising digestive enzymes which help in digestion, excretions and in the cell renewal processes. So, these are the organelles you can see from the cell. It is separately given in these pictures. Next slide. Now, you see the cytoplasm. Cytoplasm is a jelly-like materials which contains all these cell organelles. It is enclosed within the cell membrane. So, the substance found within the cell nucleus, it is contained by the nuclear membrane which is called nucleoplasm. It is jelly in nature, the cytoplasm. So, what is Golgi apparatus? It is a flat, smooth layered, sac-like organelle which is located near the nucleus and involved in the manufacturing, storing, packing and transporting the particles throughout the cells. What is mitochondria? They are spherical or rod-shaped organelles within the double-layered membrane. They are the powerhouse of the cells as they play an important role in the releasing of the energy and the energy productions. What is the ribosomes? They are small organelles made up of RNA-rich cytoplasmic granules and they are the site of protein synthesis. What is an endoplasmic reticulum? This is a cellular organelle composed of a thin widening network of membranous sacs originating from the nucleolus. So, the endoplasmic reticulums are two types, rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. So, the rough endoplasmic reticulums on the surface, ribosomes it is attaches to this, because of that only it is called rough endoplasmic reticulum. The another one surface is, it will be very smooth, it is called smooth endoplasmic reticulum. What is the vacuoles? It's a membrane bound organelle present inside a cell. It's involved in the maintaining shape and storing the water, food and wastes, etc. So, these are the organelles also given in this diagram. Next slide. Now, you will see nuclear pore. They are tiny holes which is present in the nuclear membrane, which are involved in the movement of nucleic acids and proteins across the nuclear membrane. So, the nuclear pore is acting as a transport system between the nucleoplasms and the cytoplasms. So, now you see the different types of animal cells. So, they are the numerous types of animal cells are existing. So, each designated to serve a specific functions. So, the most common type of animal cells are skin cells, muscle cells, blood cells, nerve cells and fat cells. Now, we will see what is the skin cells. It is a melanocytes, melanin pigmentation it is giving, keratinocytes, marked cells and Langerhans cells. So, the skin cells are, it's giving the pigmentations to the animal body. So, you can see this skin cell, the single nucleus it is present. Then next one is the muscle cells, myocytes, myosatellite cells, tendon cells, cardiac muscle cells. So, the myocytes, the muscle cells are in, this is also given in these diagrams. Then the blood cells are leukocytes, erythrocytes and plate cells. Blood is a liquid connective tissues. So, in that liquid connective tissues itself, these are the cells present, that is a leukocyte, erythrocyte, plate cells. These are the blood cells. The next, nerve cells. Nerve cells are Schwann cells, another one is a Gallial cells. The last one is the fat cells, that is nothing but the adipocyte cells. These are the main commonly available cells in the animal body. Next, thank you.